Welcome back to the ABC of EDC with me, Rick Flat, your host through everything Everyday Carry. We once again have a watch review. A good friend of mine has lent a watch into the channel, a product from Omega, and I was about to say that we've never had an Omega on the channel before, but that's not entirely true because we did do a quick review of the Moon Swatch, and we know that was probably more Swatch than Omega, a bit of a kind of Speed Master kind of situation, and this is more thoroughbred, a Seamaster situation, the Planet Ocean, and I had a lot of questions about Omega going in, and I think I had quite a lot of them answered, but we'll get into that in a moment. Do me a solid, will you, before we go on? Would you like, subscribe, press the little bell icon, lets me know you're there. About 86% of you watch the videos but don't subscribe. If a few more of you subscribed, it would help me no end. And we are planning on doing a subscriber giveaway, and I know I mentioned that a video or two ago, and it should have happened in May, but look, man, I work full-time, I've got 2 kids, I've got a dog, I'm a daydreamer, I'm slow at doing stuff at the best of times, even when I'm quick. So I'll get round to it. I think the May watch subscriber giveaway will happen in June, and I'll tell you about that probably more next week. Anyway, let's flippy and have a look at this Planet Ocean. So here is the Omega box, right? Check it out. Pretty simple card situation, little silver kind of Omega kind of logo on the front there. We're used to this box within a box, flappy flap. Now I like this little box, man, that this thing comes in. It's got a little kind of like badgy, kind of like coiny, the shieldy thing there. I like that. It feels good in your hand. Let's put that aside for a moment. What's in the box? As ever in the box are some instructions for operating your watch in every single language. I wouldn't read it in my own language, let alone any other language. We've got a little receipt here, which we'll get into that in a little while. And the only other thing is this little wallet, which has the warranty, the chronometer certificate, and then another little thing which just says pictograms, and then talks about the reference number and the caliber number. We'll get into some more of that as we go, but let's have a look at the actual watch. That's what we've come for, right? And like I say, I love this little box. It doesn't overstate its welcome, but it says, you know, it's a little bit special, a little bit something, you know what I mean? And here it is. Here is the star of the show, man. The Omega Planet Ocean. And my friend has had this watch for a long time. And I've got to be honest with you, I didn't really get it. I mean, I liked it. I'd look over every now and then, he'd be wearing, I'd be like, there he is. He's wearing an Omega. I didn't really think much else of it. I honestly didn't. But it's only as I borrowed it and wore it and just kept looking at it and feeling it and playing with it that I was like, oh, I get it. And there's a lot of stuff I'm going to say about this watch. Mainly good, actually. Yeah, pretty much universally good. I love this watch. But the one thing, my one takeaway that I didn't realise before I had this in my hand is that this watch is infinitely wearable. It's comfortable. You can't, and it's surprising because it's a chunky thing, man. It's not a tiny watch by anyone's estimate, but you just kind of forget you've got it on. And I was surprised by that. And I just kind of like every now and then I'd look down at it, and it's got a way of catching the light. I don't know. It's just wearable. You kind of forget about it. But then when you look down, there's always something going on. There's always a little show going on because of those hands, that little bit of orange on the dial, the little bit of orange on the tip of the second hand. It just does just enough, man. It flirts with you just enough. The bezel movement, oh, it's crisp. Let me bring the mic in a little bit closer, man. It's just, oh. Mate, that bezel action is dirty. That bezel action is a problem, man. That bezel action, mate, you leave your wife. It's just a pleasure to use. Grippy, really solid, no back movement. Oh, there you go. Click it on a bit. No back play. Aligns perfectly, just perfectly. The bracelet is really comfortable. I don't know if you can tell from here, but the bracelet kind of, it curves down. So you've got this inner link, and then the links on the outside, they kind of curve down. So it gives the impression as you look at it on your hand of it not being as chunky as it is, because it's a pretty chunky bracelet, man. It's not a tiny bracelet. Do you know what I mean? But it kind of like helps it sit on your wrist nicely. He did a couple of different things with this watch. Often, if you were at YouTube reviews of this watch, you'd see a couple of things. Firstly, you'd see a different clasp on it. My friend paid, and that's why this receipt here, I'm not going to let you see the details, but the receipt on there is 240 quid that he paid at the time that he bought this watch used. He bought this watch used, and it has been used ever since. It's got tons of scratches and marks, but they're all patina and character on it. But he bought it used, and the first thing he did was change out this clasp, because the clasp on the original Planet Ocean, not great adjustment wise. It had a lot of more kind of text engraved on there. This is very simple, just that Omega and just their branding. But the good thing about this clasp is, firstly, it's got your diver's extension. Okay, yeah, which classic, so far so good. It's a diver's watch. It's a serious one. Do you know what I mean? It's not. We're not playing here. We're not 100 meters, man. We're doing something. So it's got that diver's extension, but also it has essentially, it's not a glide lock, but it's, I don't know if you can see it in there. It's a very hard kind of thing to get a view on. I'll put some shots in of it. Little button in there, says push. You push on that, and then you get, I think it's probably five or six micro adjustments, and it just makes it so this watch just look at that. Look at the distance that you get. It's crazy. So for me, like putting this on my wrist, I've got a man's wrist. My friend has a child's wrist. So look, I can't get this shut with my friend's adjustment on it. But if I just click on that, pull it out, suddenly it gives me more than enough adjustment with a little bit of looseness on it to get this watch on my wrist. And I love that. Sweaty day extension, you could call it. For me, the way my friend's got it sized, it rescues me. It means I can actually wear it, whereas I think the diver's extension would take it too far. If I just unlock the diver's extension and put this on, man, like I'm all over the shop, man. Do you know what I mean? This Sopranos time. It's a problem. It's not good, man. But that there, I think, was a stroke of genius by my friend, just to know, actually I want a little bit of on the move adjustment, much better class, milled, very nice, top quality, top banana. Also, the other difference you might see on this one compared to other ones, it has an open case back, or a display case back, exhibition case back, whatever you want to say, and you can see that lovely 8500 movement in there, that coaxial movement. I'll tell you a bit more about that as we go along. Yeah, beautiful, fairly decorated, nothing too crazy, but in keeping with the watch. The watch, like I say, is a mix of boldness and chunkiness, but understatedness as well. And I think it kind of just carries on the way they decorated this movement. Lovely dial, like I say, matte black, just that little bit of orange text under the Omega, just that little corresponding orange tip on the second hands. You've got a date window at 3 o'clock. You've got 12, 6 and 8 numerals, again applied. Again, they catch that light beautifully. Like I say, helium escape valve at 10 o'clock, your normal crown at 3 o'clock. Both signed, a HE on the helium escape, and again, the Omega branding on there. Crown operates beautifully. You unscrew, perfect. And if you click it out to the first position, this is something I didn't realize. My friend told me this. You've got sort of not a GMT function, but kind of a multiple quick change time function. You click it out to the first position, and then you have complete control over that hour hand. So you fly somewhere quick, you want to just click back a couple of hours, you've got control. You can isolate that hour hand. Good, huh? Awesome. Not a feature anyone was asking for or that we needed, but you got it anyway. Thanks, Omega. And then it's as ever a watch was. Pull that crown out all the way, it hacks, and there you are back in the normal situation. Just operate your watch. It's all pretty standard fare. I can get why people run a comparison between this and the Rolex Submariner when they're talking about great entry-level luxury divers, because just like the Sub is kind of understated but kind of like got something about it, this too is the same. It's kind of understated, just that sports watch. For someone who don't know, you might have a Citizen on. They don't care, whatever. But to those in the know, they look at it. And if you've had a chance like me to actually get your hands on this and wear one of these for a while, you realise, man, these are kind of eminently proficient watches. They just do what they're supposed to do. Got that water resistance, got that toughness, got a great movement, got a great bezel. And there's just something about this watch, for my money, over a Submariner. There's something about this. It's that entirely useless helium escape valve at 10 o'clock. It's the whole kind of, for this, the kind of matte kind of vibe of it. The kind of, there's not a lot of frills, but it's got just enough, man. It's just showing you just a little bit of leg, right? With that orange text underneath the Omega branding, with the corresponding orange tip on the second hand. Man, it's just got something about it. That little date window, and I love, you should always have a date window that matches your dial, man. There's nothing worse than, imagine if this watch, right, had like a white date wheel. Gross. The fact it's got that lovely matte, corresponding matte black date wheel, just class. It's there if you need it, but there's no great distraction, no great fuss. It doesn't ruin the dial. She's a bit chunky, I'll give you that. She's put a few pounds on, and I thought that would be a problem, but it's really not. I've seen it on my friend's wrist, and like I say, he's got a girl's wrist, so it's not really that fair. But no offense to girls, probably girls have bigger wrists than him. Okay, so there you go. I'm being fair. I thought it looked a bit chunky, but actually, when I've had it on my hand, it's not been that chunky. It's been like pretty good. It's been pretty solid. It's there, but it's not overwhelming. Great watch, man. Great watch. I don't know what else to say. Like I say, I'd love to get a subby in and run a test on these, but great watch. Thanks to my friend for lending it in. Thanks for buying it. Good choice. And yeah, Omega, bruv. I'm kind of into it.